Hello, my friends, and welcome to our Voice of Ecosystem number 149. I'm glad to see you all came today. And I want to introduce to you our special guest, Dave, from Galactica Network. Today we're going to find out what the Galactica Network is, what is the cipher identity stands for, and let's find it out.
So please, several words about yourself and about your role in Galactica Network.
Sure, no problem. So I'm Dave from Galactica Network. I generally do things like through growth and communication and community, that kind of thing from Galactica's side. I've been in the industry for over a decade, but I've only recently started working on like layer 1 protocols, DeFi stuff, that kind of thing. So I'd say I've been spending about 4 or 5 years working in DeFi, and then jumped over to Galactica as the first L1 that I worked on. Jumped over to Galactica mostly because it's probably the best bet for sovereignty, freedom, and an actual utility within the real world at the same time, while maintaining our rights and freedoms as Web3 advocates. So I think it's an absolutely incredible protocol, and it just brings a lot more to the table than like your standard layer 1. So I'm just all here for it. I'm ready to.
Tell us about how the process is going. We know that Galactica announced themselves already kind for 1 year ago or something. So looks like a lot of happening now. But can you tell more about the?
Absolutely. Of course I can. So basically, Galactica, we started development actually a year and a half, maybe even 2 years ago. We started developing with the idea of identity and reputation and fair governance. So that was kind of our start. We wanted to build, we saw that the entire ecosystem was flooded with layer 1 blockchains, and none of them were really bringing anything new to the table besides like different levels of decentralization, and slightly different security aspects, just variations on protocols. There was really no killer use cases. There were no new killer use cases that weren't brought on by like the OGs, by Ethereum, by all the older blockchains. There's nothing really new besides faster, slightly better, just minor changes. So we wanted to change that by taking the work we've done on financial primitives previously in blockchain. So we've spent 20 odd years making incredible financial primitives. And now as Galactica, we want to bring in social primitives. We want to bring in people. We want to make sure that people can be in this like age of artificial intelligence and everything that is fake and unreal. We want to bring verifiable, real human beings on chain while maintaining the Web3 ethos, while maintaining your rights.
So, Dave, can you tell how Galactica want to build these social primitives? Yes, and how you see it and how we can easily explain it to users?
Absolutely, of course. So we start with the baseline idea of getting like a verifiable, genuine identity onto the blockchain. And we do that by taking all of your data points. So all of your data points from every source, combining that into something that is verifiable against a blockchain address, and then allowing that address to use zero knowledge proofs to prove all that stuff, whatever it might be, to other people on the blockchain while maintaining their privacy at all times.
What's your plans about growing of the community and working with the community, and how common users can join Galactica Network and what they can do right now?
There's a couple of ways. The best way to do it is to jump onto our Zili. In fact, what I'll do, I will share the link in the chat if that's okay. So yeah, guys, you really just want to be jumping onto our Zili, going through some tasks, getting onboarded with the community, And you will be starting to immediately, every single thing that you do for Galactica is earning reputation, which increases your the amount of airdrops that you will get during the mainnet. It's really super simple.
So, Dave, and what is the rules for the airdrop? Who will get airdrop and by which criteria?
So, with the airdrops, it's firstly, you will want to be buying either a full node or a shard node in our node sale that's ongoing. If you go to the link that I put in the Telegram chat, that will be probably the first link. If you're on mobile, if it's on desktop, it'll be up at the left somewhere. But if there are lots of rewards with Galactica. There's quite a lot. So you can either you can do validate. You can be a validator, and you can gain validator fees for just standard validator rewards if you want to. If you buy a full node, you can do that as an option. We also are. It's so sick because we can actually, instead of doing technical work for like verifiable technical work, we can do verifiable social work in order to maintain your nodes. Then you have 2 airdrops, which are attached to your to whatever you buy in the node sale. Those are the universal basic income, which is a merit-based airdrop. You have to work to increase it in order to get more airdrop. And then there is the node drop, which is an unconditional airdrop, which you just get for buying the node.
So the people who will buy the node don't need to run the validator and don't need to have technical skills.
No, exactly. Yeah.
I
So
will translate.
you can upkeep your node with social work rather than just technical work.
Very interesting, very interesting. Can you tell about collaborations of Galactica Network? I know that you already have very good connections with Swissborg, but which other projects or ecosystem players you have as collaborators?
Sure, no problem at all. I love talking about our friends. So we've got, so as you've already mentioned, we have Swissborg. We've actually, with them, we've created the very first production level zero knowledge KYC system in which we actually have a regulated European provider of KYC who's providing private KYCs on chain. So they never know your blockchain address, and that is super cool. Then we've got Zama.ai. We're actually one of the first, and that is just the cutting edge of encryption. It actually means that technically all it means is that you can run analytics and you can compute on encrypted data without decrypting it first, and that is super sick.
So, Dave, maybe you can share screen.
All right, guys. So all you need to do. So you can probably see the QR code in the bottom left there, probably on your screen.
Yes.
So if you just scan the QR code there, that will go to galactica.com/links. That will take you to our our little in-house link tree. The best possible way that you can use that is to jump onto our Zeely first. So if you jump onto Zeely and then go through the onboarding quest there, there's an onboarding quest called I Am Galactican. You complete that onboarding quest, you'll jump into all of our socials, everything that will onboard you completely. You'll also get an SBT within our Cypherbook product. So you'll get an on-chain credential for passing the I Am Galactican onboarding process.
Great. And the next question, why you think that social primitives is so important? Why? So some people, when they came to crypto, for example, they start to participate in the different delegated proof of stake networks. They stake their tokens and they even get voting power, but they don't use it. They don't vote. And we can see that even very big players like Binance or Coinbase, who have a huge voting power, in the same time, they don't use this voting power. So, but why you think that these social values are real values and why it's important?
I'll tell you exactly why. So my personal belief and the belief of Galactica as a team is that like blockchain governance is broken. I don't think most people will really argue with that. The simple case is that if you have the most tokens, you win the votes. It's pure plutocracy at its core, right? If you just take that as an assumption that blockchain governance is completely broken, the only way to solve for a plutocracy is to replace it with a meritocracy, is to bring in at least something approaching a meritocracy. The only way that you can approach to bring in good governance into any system is to make sure that people's input into that system, their reputation, you might call it their digital soul, is actually well represented on the blockchain. Otherwise, you can't judge whether an address is just some faceless hacker or a Sybil attacker, or a good person who has been like really contributing to some protocol that requires governance. So I think this little diagram here actually demonstrates it quite well. So you take all your data inputs, all of them. You take not just your Web2 data, but also your on-chain data. You take everything that makes you in the digital sense, and then you filter that into the blockchain through one of our guardians. We call them guardians. They're essentially just private oracles. So they're oracles that preserve your privacy at every stage, from both the data provider and from anyone else on chain. So you take all your data, you put them through a guardian, you get that information in a provable state on chain with zero knowledge proofs, and then you have full control. So the only people who have your data at any given time are the oracles in their back offices, whatever that might be. So, for example, for a KYC provider like Swissborg, they will do the standard Web2 KYC interaction. You'll have to provide your documents, all that stuff. The difference is that they will never know your blockchain address, so that you will be able to identify yourself without losing privacy on chain. You don't have to do that, by the way. Like, Galactica is just a standard, transparent, EVM compatible blockchain in its own right. It should be made very clear. You can just be a pseudonymous address. But the added benefits of bringing in either a zkKYC, or if you don't want to do that, just all of your data points and creating an identity, are that you suddenly have the ability to sovereignly hold and monetize your data. So that's super cool. Like, you can actually own your data and decide who gets it, and you can sell it to the highest bidder, essentially. And we have systems for that. So obviously, data is far more valuable when it is voluntarily given by a high value individual, rather than when it's scraped from like a mass volume of data, and then just and then people just try and make guesses with that data. That's not valuable, and it's very difficult, very inefficient, especially when you can have real people who are just giving you their data voluntarily, because there's no downside, there's no privacy problem, and there's no one who's trying to just eat your data for their own profit. It's all profit for you. So I just wanted to point out a couple of little things that I think got broken off in the Telegram AMA. We just got a few of the launch partners and a few of the launch advisors. So we've got Cyrus from Swissborg, obviously CEO, founder, Swissborg, absolutely magnificent guy. We got Rand from Zama.ai. I think he was the second one I actually managed to get out before we broke up. We've also got Sasha from 1inch. She's absolutely amazing. We're doing some very, very cool behind the scenes stuff with 1inch. We've got Fernando from Nebula. We got Ray on board for questing stuff. These are just launch partners. We're talking behind the scenes with, like, I can't really give away too much, but we've got an awful lot of new partners to come on after the node sale, which we're currently running. So like right now, priorities are making sure that we get the node sale out to people. But then after that, like we can accelerate on our already planned partnerships. But these are just the launch ones, just so you've got a vague idea of the kind of quality of partnerships that we're going for here.
Also, one short question about how testnet is going. Everything is good?
Very much so. Very much so. Yeah. So on testnet, we've gone from I think we finished up DevNet earlier this year, and since then we've fully implemented, like I say, the very first production ZK KYC system. So that's live with Swissborg at its heart, powering it. So you can actually make you can do all your like backend stuff on Swissborg. You can make your identity and bring all your KYC documents on board with Swissborg right now, and then get it onto the Galactica testnet in the form of zero-knowledge proofs that's completely privacy preserving from end to end. So you can do that right now. That's on the cipher book. So if you want to check that out, once again, I think below me somewhere down there should be a QR code in which you can click on go test our cipher book. So if you go test the cipher book, that's kind of like the in testing product. Which has got a Quest interface. It's got your identity management system. It's pretty much the heart of everything. So let's just dive on. I think it would be good to just get like a little quick overview of the kind of stuff that's enabled by having the social part of blockchain on, like having yourself on blockchain. So I've already mentioned the universal basic income airdrop. So it's like a recurring airdrop. So you just keep on getting it over time. And it's completely based on your merit. So what you've done, what you've verifiably, provably done. And that increases your airdrop. So that's what Vitalik would have called a soul drop earlier on when he did his original papers on like decentralized reputation. So that's where the basis for the universal basic income. But you also get things that are more even more interesting than that. So you've got reputation augmented DeFi, and that's a stupid long word to say that you can have no collateral on your loans, that kind of thing. You know how it is right now. You have to pay like $500 to get a $250 loan because no one trusts each other in blockchain. Of course we don't. We don't trust each other in blockchain. We're all just stupid addresses who like to steal from each other. We well, not all that, but yeah, I jest. We by having reputation and identity on chain, you can improve DeFi to the point where it not only is on par with legacy systems, but it absolutely blows them out of the water as far as like legacy financial systems goes. We've got there's more. Obviously, there's always more. Like when you actually bring on people onto chain, it kind of changes the entire dynamic of blockchain. So you can do things like social account recovery, which means you give an encrypted piece of your seed phrase or whatever else to like a group of friends. It could be a DAO, it could be a company, it could be almost anything. You just spread these things around in an encrypted format. And then you can leverage true social governance, which isn't just a plutocracy, to join all those pieces back together in the case that you lose your blockchain seed phrase or anything like that. So it's a truly fantastic use case. Requires an awful lot of governance and good governance, but that's actually possible on Galactica. And then, of course, we've got the kind of data markets that I've been talking about. So again, we have two primary technologies. We have zero-knowledge proofs, and we have this brand new stuff, which is called fully homomorphic encryption. Now, that stuff is just, it's so cutting edge that like no one else is really thinking about it right now. I say that VCs and stuff are thinking about it because never mind. In any case, it's very important stuff. And what that does is allow you to compute on encrypted data without decrypting it first. And that's huge. That changes everything. That means that you can put on sensitive data onto blockchain systems and then still and run compute on it, or you can have, for example, interoperable medical data. Can you even imagine if you changed doctors' offices, you wouldn't have to request data from them in order to get served by another medical practitioner. You'd be able to simply say, "Here's my data. This is where it is. This is how you can compute on it." It's completely interoperable and allows it to be like a global interoperable system for the first time, and real world assets.
Also, there's some questions. What if I want to delete my
private data, even in encrypted way from the blockchain? Is it possible or not?
That's super simple, actually, because you're dealing with zero knowledge proofs that have been published by you. You can control what is visible on the blockchain. So you publish a zero knowledge proof to the chain, but you might say that the zero knowledge proof would say, "I'm over 18. I'm not from a sanctioned country. I'm an accredited investor." It can, like, a zero knowledge proof can say anything in a true, like, binary true or false kind of way. So you publish the proofs to chain, and what is visible to others when they query your address is controllable by you. So you decide what they see, but what they see is verifiable.
Great and amazing. This is very nice. Just to publish ZK proofs on the chain, it's so amazing and cool. Can you tell, is it possible to make alternative to 1Pass or any other password keepers by this way on chain? Will it disrupt all the centralized keepers of the passwords, or?
I think with the integration of fully homomorphic encryption in the current state of fully homomorphic encryption, it will probably take another 2 or 3 years before we get to the point where we can do that. But yes, it's entirely possible, I would say. Good question. Good use case.
Yes, this is the just my own pain. I so want to keep something in the blockchain that it's never, but I want to keep my passwords, like
Absolutely.
to keep mnemonic from my address in the blockchain. This it will, and only I have access. It will be wonderful.
Hell yes, actual, like, data sovereignty and data privacy at the same time. It's a hell of a thing.
Yes. Let's go forward.
Sure, no worries. I've got one more quick use case on it that is very important, and that's real world assets. So the rails for real world assets. So you've probably already been exposed to real world assets in conversations like this, in just basically it being advertised at you. But real world assets on chain have a lot of problems. Chief of which is that you have a completely transparent system in which you are essentially advertising your assets. You're like, the second that someone knows your wallet address, they know everything about you and every connection that has come to and from that wallet. People can very easily, using very commonly available tools, basically take every single data point that you've ever had on blockchain, and then form like a web of what you are on. You form this identity web of you. It's very, very easy to get doxed in this way. Very easy to get doxed. And when you put on real world assets, something like a car or a house, something with obvious publicly identifiable information on it, you're doxed straight away, and everyone knows your entire financial history, the contents of your wallets, everything. That's not good enough. That's not how like a society can really function. In the case where every single one of your actions is completely transparent, society doesn't function that way. So what we do with privacy is allowing people to bring on compliant instruments like real world assets, and then allow people to remain anonymous at the same time, which basically enables real world assets for real, rather than just as some awesome little use case over there that will be available at some point soon. Thank you, Vladi. So I actually have a hard stop. I would just like to kind of wrap things up nicely, I guess. What I'm going to just bring up here is a very, very simple way of putting what Galactica is. I like it. So you take data on the left-hand side of the chart, you store it and make it private with zero knowledge certificates. You compute and verify with the reputation root contract, which is a publicly accessible contract. You can query any address for any publicly available proofs, essentially forming like a reputation web. And then you enable others to use it with contingent transactions. So it's really simple. The contingent transactions are just basically like the same things as like smart contracts, just essentially smart contracts, but on people instead of on finance. Super cool. So that makes it quite clear, I think. So
Dave, thank you for visiting us and clarify so many interesting parts of Galactica Network. Maybe you have something like the last words or call to action.
I've always got something to say, don't worry. Yeah, guys, I really appreciate you listening. Like, your time is so valuable. I always appreciate when people spend that time with myself or with people like Vladdy, who are obviously very passionate about the space, who care. Finding people in Web3 who actually care is a valuable thing. So I really do appreciate your time here. Like I say, best way to get involved with Galactica is to jump into the QR code. I think there's actually 2 of them on screen right now, so whichever one you choose. You can jump into the node sale right now. You can buy your full nodes or shard nodes. We've actually one of the first people who are doing like fractions of shards, which is kind of cool too. You get really cool rewards, 2 airdrops with either of them. And you can also, like, if you want to get more deeply involved and earn a lot more, best way to do it is to jump onto the Zeely link, which is in the same QR code. That way you can come and join myself and the rest of the community. We have a massively vibrant community. If you jump in the Discord or the Telegram, either of them, you'll find our sentinels waiting for you. You'll find our community champions waiting for you. They will help you out with absolutely anything. We're currently actually working on a Russian language, a specific Russian language chat. We're just trying to find some moderators. So if you're interested in moderating Russian language chat, be very helpful if you could apply.
Very good. We have very good and responsible community members with the good reputation. Of course, we will help you with networking to find a responsible moderator who already help for the many different Russian-speaking communities and projects. Thank you, Dave, for this meet. Amazing. I totally sure that after this video, you will have a big amount of the people to choose who can be a Russian speaker moderator.
Sounds good. It really sounds good, guys. Ask any one of our sentinels when you jump in the chat. If you're interested, just say that you're interested in becoming a sentinel or a community champion, and we will send you over all the relevant links and information. It's no issue at all. Thank you very much for having me, Vlad. Really, really appreciate it.
Of course, Dave. Thank you for coming. We really appreciate your time. Galactica Network is so interesting. We will contribute for the development and of the network and of the community. So feel free to go, and I will ask several questions from the community, how they like, what they think. Maybe I forgot to translate something. But very good that you visit us.
Thank you for having me, guys, and I appreciate you. And say nice things. Say nice things about me. Thank you. Bye.